Uhuru. I'm Valerie Bronte of Uhuru Solidarity Movement, and it is February 9th, Solidarity Spear Study Live time. It is 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every week, Uhuru Solidarity Movement presents a weekly live stream political education under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. So as you're coming into the study, leave me a comment. Let me know you're here. Say Uhuru. And yeah, share it to your timeline. Invite people, comrades, friends, family members, people who you think need to hear this, who want to be on the right side of the question, who want to be on the right side of the history of humanity. Uhuru, Ulrika, Christine from Pittsburgh, Uhuru. Share this to your timeline. Thank you very much in advance. I'm Valerie Bronte of Uhuru Solidarity Movement. If you are just joining the study, and this is our February 9th, Uhuru Solidarity Movement, Solidarity Spear Study Live. So as always, I want to salute my leadership. Chairman Omali Yeshitela, and African People's, he's the chairman of the African People's Socialist Party USA and the African Socialist International. I want to salute the chairman for creating African internationalism, which is the materialist political worldview and science that describes the conditions of colonialism from the perspective of the African working class and how Black power, both economic and political, will destroy colonialism. Let's see who's joined the study. Uhuru, Evan Garner, thanks for sharing. Yes, please share this to your timeline. When we get a few more people in here, I want to start. But again, I'm Valerie Bronte of Uhuru Solidarity Movement. We are the organization of white people under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. We organize in the white community for reparations to African people. So we have 3 principles of unity. We work under the leadership of and are accountable to the African People's Socialist Party. Our second principle of unity is that we believe that Africans have the right to lead their own struggle. And number 3, we organize in the white community for reparations to African people, and that is it. We are the mass organization of the African People's Solidarity Committee, and I will get to that in just a minute. But all of this, like I said, is led by Chairman Omali Yeshitela. The African People's Socialist Party was founded in 1972. It was formed by the merging of 3 organizations: JOMO, the Junta of Militant Organizations, the Black Rights Fighters from Fort Myers, Florida, the Black Study Group of Gainesville, Florida, and it leads the struggle of the African working class and colonized masses worldwide against parasitic capitalism, colonialism, and Western imperialism for total African liberation. The African People's Socialist Party recognizes Black people are not a race or a color. They are a nation of people whose birthright is Africa. They're African wherever colonialism has displaced them. Additionally, the African People's Socialist Party recognizes that African people within U.S. colonial borders are domestically, that is, internally colonized. They've had their labor and resources stolen by white power. The African People's Socialist Party leads 30 institutions of economic development and Black power, including the Black Power Blueprint campaign of the African People's Education and Defense Fund. So who is the Uhuru Solidarity Movement? It's the most unique feature of any movement today. Is the Uhuru movement has made the revolutionary demand for reparations to African people a household word. So in 1976, the African People's Socialist Party formed the African People's Solidarity Committee. It is led by Chairwoman Penny Hess, who has dedicated 48 years of her life to the struggle for white reparations to African people. So the word reparations means repayment, repair for the damage done. And this demand is growing around the world as colonized people resist imperialism and struggle for their liberation. So it's growing all around the world, reparations for colonialism, parasitic capitalism, and imperialism. So Uhuru Solidarity Movement is the organization of white people that understand that this is in our best interest. Our interest is not on the sinking ship of imperialism, but with the totally liberated future where no one group has their boot on the necks of the rest of the world. Say, Uhuru Ella Cadre, Uhuru John Hill Jr., Uhuru Appreciation. All right. How many more people do we have? Okay, 8 viewers. If we get 10 viewers, we'll start the article, but we need to talk about why, as white people, we study the Burning Spear newspaper every week. So I want to salute the Burning Spear. The Burning Spear has been in publication for 50 years. I want to salute the Burning Spear is a institution of the Department of Agitprop of the African People's Socialist Party, led by Director of the Department of Agitprop, Akile Anayi. Salute the Burning Spear newspaper and its editorial staff. The managing editorial director is Olufin Ikemba. So this is the voice of the International African Revolution. It is a print and online newspaper published by the African People's Socialist Party and affiliated with the African Liberation Movement. It understands the world, but not just understands the world, but points the way forward and leads the reader to the revolutionary conclusion that the system cannot be reformed, that it was born parasitic. And so advances African internationalism, which is the worldview, materialist political worldview developed by Chairman Omali Yeshitela. It describes the world and the conditions of colonialism from the perspective of the African working class. Oldest Black power revolutionary newspaper in existence. So as white people, we look all around us, we look at the headlines, you look at the articles that you're seeing on your timeline, especially this week, everybody's congratulating Nancy Pelosi on, I don't know, stealing some lack of decorum from popular culture and pretending to, I don't know, be a relatable human rather than just like a rat inside a skeleton that's been decoupaged. But as white people, you know, surrounded by a distraction like that and a 24-hour bourgeois news cycle, we understand that the bourgeois media stands to uphold and forward the aims of imperialism, especially what we've seen with the media coverage around the coup that's being supported by the US and Trump that's happening in Venezuela right now. So we study the Burning Spear because we study under the leadership of the African working class. And as white people, we cannot properly understand or articulate the conditions of colonialism from our perspective. So why do we say Uhuru? It's the Swahili word for freedom. It keeps African liberation on the mind 24/7. Uhuru, tuning in from Arizona. Thank you. Uhuru, Paula, yes, please share this to your timeline. So I'm happy to announce today's article will be the Office of the Deputy Chair from the January 2019 Burning Spear newspaper. Uhuru Appreciation in Oakland, California and Philadelphia, PA. Uhuru N2U recognized volunteers at historical event hosted by the APEDF and Black Star Industries. And there's photos of the event goers and their recognition placards. And this is just celebrating last year's victories of the African People's Education and Defense Fund and Black Star Industries and the volunteers, the hundreds of volunteers that support these organizations across the country. So this is by Deputy Chair Onizine Yeshitela. The Uhuru N2U recognized volunteers at a historical event hosted by APEDF and BSI. Friday, December 7th and Saturday, December 8th, 2018 were beautiful nights of appreciation and recognition in Oakland, California and Philadelphia, PA. The African People's Education and Defense Fund, APEDF, and Black Star Industries, BSI, hosted dinners in honor of the staff, our Uhuru N2U volunteers, and supporters of all the Uhuru movement institutions in these two cities. This includes Uhuru Furniture and Collectibles, Uhuru Foods and Pies, the One Africa, One Nation Market, Uhuru Health Festival, and Uhuru Book Fair. Every year, hundreds of volunteers supplement the hardworking staff to make these institutions successful, and every year supporters donate, shop, eat, and contribute towards these economic institutions. Both events featured a delicious dinner, lovely decorations, music, recognition awards, and thank you gifts. Allie Hutley, UFC sales and operations coordinator and also a great chef, prepared the dinner in Philadelphia. Uhuru Foods and Pies, including N2U orientation coordinator Suchas Favors and new volunteer Mohammed Savula, prepared the dinner in Oakland. Bakari Alatunji, Uhuru Foods and Pies Grand Lake Market Booth Coordinator and member of the African People's Socialist Party, emceed the event along with Janice Bryant, the Uhuru Foods Uhuru Furniture and Collectible Donations Administrator and member of the party in Philly. In Philly, cultural performances included a talented Uhuru Furniture and Collectibles customer who performs as Rugrat, Stephanie Guyton, aka Jalea, who is the coordinator of the One Africa, One Nation Market Children's Circle and longtime APEDF friend and popular local drummer Karen Smith, performed first and stated, "I never say no to Uhuru." The programs featured videos showing the audience the important programs that their hard work and support had made possible in 2018. One titled "The Coal Train" shows the conditions faced by the Africans who are mining for the precious raw materials that are being shipped out of Europe to benefit the US and Europe. Shipped out of Africa to benefit the US and Europe. The African community in the US experiences serious conditions in every area of life. In Philadelphia, hunger has increased by 22% in the past year. And Philadelphia is at the top of the list of all major US cities for poverty, imprisonment, and shorter life expectancies in the Black community. In Oakland, in the last 20 years, 50% of the African community has been pushed out by unbearable conditions, including brutal gentrification, joblessness, and crushing police containment. As Chairman Omali Yeshitela has said, if African people had control over the land and resources of Africa, there would be no need for an organization like the African People's Education and Defense Fund. The video shows the brilliant development of the Black Power Blueprint, which was created because we are serious about overcoming the grave disparities faced by the African community. The Black Power Blueprint is a Black-led self-determination project in St. Louis, Missouri, organized by Black Star Industries and APEDF. After showing the audience why their support has been so meaningful, attendees were individually recognized and many made moving statements. Bridget Farmer, originally from St. Louis and now in Oakland, is an architect and engineer who volunteered to create the new Uhuru Foods and Pies website. She said, "It's nice to see such an amazing organization run for and by the African community. With so much in Oakland happening and so much in St. Louis happening, gentrification, constant unemployment, it's nice to see such an economic powerhouse. It's something I can believe in to be volunteering my time and talents for, so thank you, everybody." Next door neighbors to the Uhuru Furniture and Collectibles in Philly, Robert and Tina, expressed how impressed they were with the scope of this movement. This sentiment was echoed by everyone in the room. Everyone was mobilized by the way forward and expressed that they want to participate in the dynamic Uhuru N2U volunteer brigade. Every day, the volunteers, staff, and supporters go the extra mile. Every volunteer through the Uhuru movement is part of the Uhuru N2U volunteer brigade, making up a team of thousands worldwide, contributing to a positive future of the liberation of African people everywhere. As Bindu Raghuraman, 3-year veteran volunteer with Uhuru Foods and Pies, said, "It's nice to be part of the Uhuru family. We can't change the past. What has happened has already happened, but we do have the power to change the future. Be a part of the most amazing brigade on the planet. Join Uhuru N2U Volunteer Brigade today. Join the online Facebook group, attend one of the weekly new volunteer orientations, get involved. Attend the orientations Oakland every Tuesday, 6 p.m., 3742 Grand Avenue, and Philadelphia every Thursday, 5 p.m., 832 North Broad Street, Uhuru." So in these photos, you can see them again. Sorry, I'm not doing it very, but thousands of volunteers worldwide, hundreds of volunteers, certainly that make the Uhuru Foods and Pies campaign possible. There are plenty of volunteers every week at Uhuru Furniture and Collectibles. And so these are institutions like Uhuru Foods and Pies have been going on since 1981. Uhuru Furniture and Collectibles in Oakland and Philly. If you were watching the Black Power Blueprint webinar on Tuesday night, I think those are 15 and 25 years each, respectively. So I just want to salute the deputy chair of the African People's Socialist Party, Onezene Eshatella, who leads the economic work of Black Star Industries and is the director of the of the nonprofit African People's Education and Defense Fund, which leads the Black Power Blueprint. So there's 30 institutions bringing the chairman's vision for building dual and contending Black economic and political power to life that are happening right now in 2019 in the United States, in Philadelphia, in Oakland, and now in St. Louis. So that's 3 Uhuru houses. So one in St. Petersburg, Florida, one in Oakland, California, which is the first one. And then finally, and not certainly the last one, but one for right now, the Uhuru House in St. Louis, in North St. Louis, in the O'Fallon neighborhood, opened on West Florissant Avenue last year, thanks to the Black Power Blueprint. 2 Uhuru furniture stores, one in Oakland and one in Philly. 1 Marcus Garvey Legacy Cruise that happens every December. 2 Uhuru Foods and Pies institutions, one in Oakland, like I said, for the last 38 years. And then Food, Pies, and Concessions in St. Petersburg, Florida. 1 Jico Kitchen in St. Petersburg, Florida. That is now, another one is being built as part of the Black Power Blueprint in St. Louis on Goodfellow Boulevard. 1 Black Power 96 FM radio station, which just raised another larger tower to extend its broadcasting range in the last year. The Black Power Blueprint program, like I've been talking about, led by APEDF, which will soon have the African Independence Workforce Training Program, the Uhuru Jico Community Commercial Kitchen with a bakery, cafe, market, and garden. It's already completed the Uhuru House. It's finishing up the One Africa, One Nation marketplace across the street. There is a One Africa, One Nation marketplace that happens in Philadelphia and has for the last 10 years. There's a Burning Spear newspaper that has been in publication for 50 years. Burning Spear Publications, which publish the chairman's writings, the writings of Penny Hess. 1 Uhuru Planet Apparel, which you can buy t-shirts, stickers, all sorts of vintage custom items. It's an amazing institution, returning resources to the African People's Socialist Party. Uzi Apparel, Africans 1 Billion Strong Donor Campaign, Zenzele Consignment in Huntsville, Alabama, which has gorgeous African wear for men and women and jewelry, handmade jewelry. Tyrone Lewis Community Gym in St. Petersburg, Florida. Decolonase Beauty and Cosmetic Products. Black Star Industries, which basically oversees every commercial economic enterprise like Vanguard lipstick. I'm wearing the Vanguard 7 today. There is Giving Tuesday campaign, the birthday campaign. We have the Days of Reparations to African People, which is another economic institution of the party through the African People's Solidarity Committee. So 30 between Black Star Industries and APEDF, dozens of employees, thousands of volunteers between the organizations make this economy for African liberation possible. And these are political and economic organizations at the same time, because as the chairman teaches us, the economic is the political. And these spaces are just not businesses, but they represent a liberated territory within domestic colonialism. Thank you for joining me. If you're just joining me, I'm Valerie Bronte of Uhuru Solidarity Movement, and this is the Solidarity Spear Study Live. And we are talking about over 30 different economic institutions of the Uhuru movement that is ever growing and changing and expanding across the country and the world. The African People's Socialist International, the African People's Socialist Party USA, led by Chairman Omali Yeshitela, Deputy Chair Ona Zane Yeshitela, who is responsible for bringing the chairman's political vision to the streets, to reality through the economic work of the party. So this is where the money goes. And there's just absolutely, it's just so insulting. It's just so insulting to hear the slander of people that might describe otherwise, because honestly, how could you possibly imagine a world so cynical and like screwed up where it would be otherwise? Like, white people cannot be in charge. We cannot be in charge. Cannot be in charge. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. The Uhuru Solidarity Movement creates a space for white people to be a part of a principled part of the struggle, and that is returning the resources of Africa that are stolen and hoarded in the white community. There is, I mean, and you just think about the resources that we raise. They're modest. They're modest right now. Until we can get full unity and continue to build the movement, the resources that we can return right now are modest. Are modest, even though all of the wealth exists in the white community. The resources that we return are not millions. They will be soon, but they're not millions right now. We're not millions right now. So to assume that somebody would sell out any part of this and create some cynical, hideous, I mean, it's just an insult. It's an insult. It's an insult to African people everywhere. It's a disgusting and vile insult. There's just, I mean, think about this. This is a logical proposition right here. You just can't, it just, there's no otherwise. And there's no otherwise for white people. We have to unite with this. We have to see our interests, short-term, long-term, right now, urgently. We must see our self-interest as bound to total African liberation, because imperialism and white power is a sinking ship that is responsible for millions of lives lost and trillions at the bare minimum in reparations. So we have this opportunity. That's building the Black Power in St. Louis right now. This is what the deputy chair is leading right now that is so incredibly transformative. St. Louis is a strategic location. It is a center of African working class resistance and has been since the death of Mike Brown, since Darren Wilson left Mike Brown in the street in 2014, in August of 2014, for 4 hours in the hot sun, left his body to bleed to put the African working class community of Ferguson to terrorize them as a sign, as a terroristic experience. And that is what the police do by containing the African community in cities across the country. Police containment is a form of domestic colonialism. And the Black Power Blueprint changes all that. The Black Power Blueprint, all right, the African working class in St. Louis reminded the world of the power of resistance of colonized people in the system against police murder. And the Uhuru House that stands there today because of the Black Power Blueprint is liberated territory in North St. Louis, just miles from Ferguson. It is an African white working class community that has been gutted by white flight, by parasitic merchants, and by gentrification, and has liberated territory for the African working class. The outdoor venue, which will host St. Louis's first One Africa, One Nation Marketplace, is being finished right now across the street from the Uhuru House with community gardens, fruit trees, a 25-foot red, black, and green African flag that flies high over the rooftops of North St. Louis. And so white people have to see their role in all of this. It's like reparations and membership in the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. Because parasitic capitalism and reparations cannot coexist. The Black Power Blueprint happens as Jamie Simpson said, at the expense of white power. This is dual and contending Black power, and there's no principled alternative. So, you know, we want to join the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. We want to be a part of this success, this winning white people to build the culture of reparations and defeat colonialism, defeat imperialism, to build for a totally liberated future where no one group lives at the expense of anyone else. And so every week we do a political education from the Burning Spear newspaper, published by the African People's Socialist Party, and we raise reparations to Black Star Industries and the Black Power Blueprint. So this week, like every week, we have an appeal goal of $75 to the African Revolution. Please put your pledges into the comments. Please go to uhurusolidarity.org. Please put your pledge in the comments. I'll do a little tally while I tell you about everything that's going on coming up in the next couple of weeks. We have an awesome speaking tour that's happening nationwide, and that is the All Diamonds or Blood Diamonds tour, which is led by the African People's Solidarity Committee and Uhuru Solidarity Committee. I'm just gonna pull up some info on that. So this national tour kicks off on February 23rd in Boston with Yejide Orinmila, and president of the African National Women's Organization, featuring Connor Voss, the Northern Coordinator of the African People's Solidarity Committee. And it's at First Church in Jamaica Plain. That's 6 Elliott Street in Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts, in Boston. It's from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sunday, February 24th, from 7 to 8:30 at the Solidarity Center at TBG, the Teresa Burns Gallery, 616 East 9th Street, New York, New York. That's in the Village, featuring Yejide Orinmila, president of the African National Women's Organization, and Penny Hess of the African People's Solidarity Committee, the chairwoman of the African People's Solidarity Committee. On Monday, we'll be in Philly at the Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender Center, 3907 Spruce Street, Philadelphia, PA. Be Yejide Orinmila and Penny Hess. St. Pete, Florida, on Friday, March 15th, 7 to 9 p.m. at Aquaba Hall. That's 1245 18th Avenue in St. Petersburg. The keynote speaker will be Akile Anai, director of Agitprop for the African People's Socialist Party and chair of Uhuru Solidarity Movement, Jesse Neville. Sunday, March 17th in Gainesville at the Civic Media Center, 433 South Main Street, Gainesville. The key speaker will be Akile Anai, director of Agitprop, the African People's Socialist Party, and Jesse Neville, chair of Uhuru Solidarity Movement. St. Louis, Missouri, Monday, March 25th, 6:30 to 8:30 at the Center for Divine Love, the Empowerment Center. The speakers will be Chicharu Masimba of the African People's Socialist Party and Casey Mackey of the African People's Solidarity Committee. And USM Louisville in Louisville, Kentucky hosts the All Diamonds or Blood Diamonds tour Wednesday, March 27th, 6 to 8 at the First Unitarian Church Library Room in Louisville, Kentucky, with Chicharu Masimba of the African People's Socialist Party and Casey Mackey of the African People's Solidarity Committee. Please check out that link that's going to get posted. I want to salute our moderator, Johan Bedingfield, for getting all the information into the comments. I always appreciate that every week. It's very, very helpful. I can't stay organized to do it all by myself. Uhuru Ron Hudson, Uhuru Paula Litzy, no one is free until African people are free. Uhuru STL is unity through reparations. That's right. St. Louis has an amazing event planned for y'all, March 25th. All Diamonds or Blood Diamonds tour. If you have never had the opportunity to hear Chicharu Masimba speak, especially about the Black Power Blueprint or the history of St. Louis, you have to attend this event. We just have the most amazing leadership as part of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. It's inimitable. Uhuru, Ulrika, Christine, there's so many ways to help repair. And that's right, because today we have a goal of $75 in reparations, raising reparations to the Black Power Blueprint. But not everyone might have $75 on them. Some of you have $75. You could completely pledge the entire amount right now, and we would have met our goal for the study. But we also have other ways that you can help return resources stolen and hoarded in the white community as reparations. You can hold a reparations challenge. So every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern or 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, you can call into our reparations challenge mass meeting and learn how to create a fundraiser and promote a fundraiser that raises your reparations goal. And you can do as many fundraisers as you want to. And that's another way that you can return reparations. You can also return reparations as a sustaining member of a Uhuru Solidarity Movement. So we also have a membership drive happening right now for the Ella Baker level of sustaining membership of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. So that's $100 a month. It is less than $3 a day, less than $3 a day, $3.30 a day. And that goes directly to the Black Power Blueprint as well. So there are many different ways that you can make your contribution to this study, either as a sustaining member with a one-time pledge or as an annual member at the $25 or $10 student fixed income level. So go to uhurusolidarity.org to learn more about that. So every Saturday here we do the Solidarity Political Education, but every Sunday the week begins with the political education from Chairman Omali Yeshitela of the African People's Socialist Party. The Omali taught me a live political study with the chairman. Happens at 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every Sunday, you can watch it on YouTube and Facebook. Every Sunday, again, I mentioned you can take the Reparations Challenge and learn more about that by joining our mass meeting. And that's a call-in, so you can follow that Facebook link for more information. Mondays in Boston, there's an open meeting at the Boston Public Library at Copley Square in the Newsfeed Cafe. Monday 6 to 8, USM Asheville meets. Open meetings are at Firestorm Books and Coffee, 610 Hayward Road, Asheville, North Carolina. So basically all of the meetings are, for the most part, on Mondays. So yes, so not only Asheville, but St. Louis at 6 p.m. they meet. They have their open meetings at Lemp Neighborhood Arts Center. Monday, 6 p.m., USM St. Pete has its open meeting at Panera Bread, 1908 4th Street North. And you can click that link to learn more about those meetings. Thursdays, USM Philly meets at 7 p.m. Has their open meeting at the Good Karma Cafe, 928 Pine Street in Philadelphia. And Fridays at 11 a.m. is the National Committee to build the 2019 USM Convention. You can join that meeting. Because April 14th and 15th in St. Louis, in the City of African Resistance, not April 14th and 15th, April 13th and 14th? April 13th and 14th is the 2019 Uhuru Solidarity Movement National Convention. And I will be there, and moderator Johan will be there, and hundreds of other white people who are taking a principled stand of white solidarity with Black power and unity through reparations will be there. Do we have any pledges in the comments? Is everyone going to the All Diamonds or Blood Diamonds tour? So Risha Hampton asked, where are the Black faces? So where are the white people? We are in solidarity with the African People's Socialist Party. This is the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. Solidarity Spirit Study Live. So we're organizing for white reparations to African people today to support the programs of the Black Power Blueprint, which, as we can see, are just so incredibly unique and just exemplary of the indisputable leadership, the indisputable advanced attachment of the African working class. This is indisputable leadership. This is, it's so awesome right now. And I don't know if you've seen it, but if you go to my timeline, you can check it out. I'm going to go to the timeline of Chairman Amalia Shah. Of course, you can see it there. And that's where you should actually go watch it. But you have to see the chairman at the Oxford Union a couple of weeks ago. This is history in the making. This is history in the making. You can be this is the opportunity that's being presented to you right now to be on the correct side of history. This is the historic moment of white unity with Black power, with solidarity with Black power, unity with reparations, building the culture of white reparations to African people under principled leadership of the African People's Socialist Party, the advanced attachment, the revolutionary vanguard of the African working class. So I want to pledge $20 to this study. If you have $20, please put it in the comments. But this is the war that we're waging. We're waging the war of ideas here with the political education of the Solidarity Spear Study Live to combat the noise, the hipster defeatism, the cynicism, the lack of faith. The people and organization will be what leads the successful resistance against white power, colonialism, and imperialism. I haven't lost that faith. That is my faith. My faith is that African people will be free, because African people will be free. Colonized people will be free. They will lead their own struggles for liberation, and imperialism is dying. And it's not a speculation. I'm not sitting here with a crystal ball or a tarot card that's telling you that. The UN is telling you that. We've been talking about this since I was a little child, that capitalism is unsustainable. The majority of the world is suffering, living on less than $2.50 a day. And, we're going to run out of water and numerous other natural resources. So what's the clue? Even white power is reckoning with this moment. You must recognize that your responsibility is to be part of a liberated future. Uhuru, Ron Hudson, $50 reparations. Uhuru, Ron, awesome, comrade. Thank you so much. So we are now at $70 of our $75 goal. We just need $5 to meet our goal today. Uhuru, I'll be at the USM St. Pete, All Diamonds, our Blood Diamonds event. Uhuru Jackson. And at the convention, Comrade Jackson, I will see you there, comrade. I know that you also have the Vanguard 7, fabulous purple lipstick. You look great in it also. I can't wait to see all of the Vanguard 7 beautiful lipsticks on all of my comrades at the convention. So $5 left. We've been talking about this since I was a little child. Olga Christine, I am 38 years old. I don't know how old you are, comrade, but this is something that people have been talking about since I was a little child, since the 80s. And I know it's because they were talking about it since the 70s. I had somebody at work come talk to me and they were like, well, it really seems like my generation is the first to really think about recycling and the first to really think about the world and the lack of resources. And I was like, no. People have been thinking about this for generations now. The Black Power revolution that the party seeks to complete is the Black Power revolution of the 1960s. Uhuru, yes, 54. Yes, because when my mother was a kid, when the world was faced with the imperialist detente between the United States and the USSR, they were talking about imperialism. Everything that we touch, every single geopolitical relationship that exists today has been tainted is in some position or some relationship to Western imperialism and to the second imperialist world war. So when we look at Israel, when we look at what's happening with Maduro today, when we look at what's happening with the European Union in crisis today, all of it is at the expense of Africa and colonized people. All of it is squabbling for imperialist spoils, so that people die so that white people can flush their toilets 10 times a day and leave their lights on and air conditioners all night. That's what's going on here. Uhuru, yes, it was so great seeing everyone at the African People's Socialist Party Congress wearing their Vanguard lipstick and Uhuru clothing from Planet Uhuru, Uzi, and other Uhuru movement clothing. Exactly. This has been going on for ages. There's no make America great again. There's no this president was better. This system was born parasitic. The United States, the state itself, was born parasitic, was born of the genocide of indigenous people, was born parasitic on the backs of the stolen lives and labor of millions of African people that were attacked and brutally enslaved here in this continent, in South America, in Africa, in Europe, in the Caribbean, built absolutely every bit of infrastructure that we see, every bit of settlement that we see on the Eastern Seaboard was built by the labor of enslaved African people. Uhuru, I can return $10 to the study in stolen resources. Uhuru, thank you, Evan. Evan tuning in from Asheville, North Carolina. So we have met our goal. We are over our goal by $10. We raised $80 for today's study. I've announced all of our meetings. I want to talk about the Ella Baker Sustainer Drive. So Connor was on the study last week because I'm still moving between my place upstate and New York, talking about the Ella Baker Sustainer Drive. So I'm an Ella Baker sustainer. Why am I an Ella Baker sustainer? Well, returning reparations, of course, is something that changes you. Like, this organization changes you. It changed my life. It made me want to make this a priority in my life. It made me want to see the total liberation of Africa and African people the priority in life, because honestly, you know, it has to happen. It has to happen. And there's just no alternative. There's no principled alternative there's no principled stance to take that's not one of returning resources once you come under this understanding. And I came under this understanding, you know, not academically, but because of the leadership of the party, because of the leadership of Chairman Amalia Shatella, not because, you know, it's something that abstractly, you know, I intellectually unite. It's like, no, it made complete material sense that there is got to be an economic basis, exactly what it took to put us into the situation that we're in now. Actually, probably far less. Well, you know, we have the technology that's just so different at this time, that resources can be used so differently. And just to return the rightful control of all the resources, all the means of production and reproduction of human life, of Africa and African people, like, it seems like such a no-brainer. And also the least we could do. So reparations, it's not like a white guilt thing. It's like a legitimate legal demand. And I think, like, if you're a person that's like, well, I don't subscribe to the white guilt thing. What are you saying then? You know, people will say things like, I don't subscribe to that. What does that even mean? What does that mean? Do you just assume absolutely no responsibility, no role at all, no political consciousness, just, you know, apathetic parasitism? I mean, guilt is not instructive. Shame is not instructive. We're talking about solutions. We're talking about time's running out on imperialism and capitalism, and people will die. Things will, people's lives are at stake. It is a life or death struggle. It is a life or death struggle, the way that we see parasitic capitalism today. People are dying so that other people can have billions. We waste enough food to feed everyone in the world. We waste enough food to feed everyone in the world. It's about being solution-minded. It's about being logical. It's about being materialist and pragmatic. We have to return the stolen, hoarded resources to the International African Revolution. So does anyone have any comments? Did anyone participate in any of these volunteer campaigns? Because I had the awesome opportunity to be a part of the 2018 Uhuru Foods and Pies 10,000 Pies for Black Power Blueprint campaign. And I went out to Oakland, California, and I went to St. Petersburg, Florida. I was also visiting my mom. So, so I went to St. Petersburg, Florida, and I got to volunteer for a weekend with Uhuru Foods and Pies at the farmer's market in St. Pete. And I was in Oakland for a whole week. And I was volunteering with Uhuru Foods and Pies out there. And that was really awesome because it was like, Oakland was like a Uhuru Pies love fest. It's been around for almost 40 years. So everybody was really excited to hear from me when I was doing phone banking and when I was out on the street. That was really cool. Great volunteers. I want to salute all the volunteers of the Uhuru N2U volunteer brigade. I want to salute the amazing solidarity leadership of Uhuru Foods and Pies, Maureen Wagner out in Oakland, and Janice Kant in St. Petersburg. And these are the tireless coordinators of these institutions for decades now. This is like really hardcore effort to run these things, and with hundreds and hundreds of volunteers to coordinate every single year. And throughout the year, the Uhuru Foods volunteering campaign is really big in Oakland. Lots of really great high school students are part of the volunteer campaign out there, again in St. Louis as well. I'm sorry, not in St. Louis, in St. Petersburg as well. Hundreds of volunteers made Black Power blueprints, renovations, tons of volunteer days for the Uhuru House in St. Louis. Like, volunteers are just proof that the people are everything and that everything is possible through organization, Uhuru, $20 more to the African working class institutions. It's a good idea, Uhuru, Johan. I don't know, can we reach 100? $80 tonight of our $75 goal. Another $20 will be $100 in reparations to the Black Power Blueprint. Again, hundreds of volunteers making this possible, hundreds of volunteers making the Uhuru Pies campaign possible. And then, of course, staff employees that have worked for years, like Ali, like Suchas, like Bakri, for years for the Uhuru movement. And so that is where the money goes, to over 30 different programs and the incredible employees that coordinate these programs. And then want to salute to thousands of volunteers, hundreds of volunteers that I got to see firsthand over the year. And this is what Black Power looks like. This is what real Black Power and economic development led by the African working class for the African working class looks like. It's real, it's right now, and white people, our place in all of this is uniting with this, is saying, hell yeah, no more genocide in my name, and I'm returning a pledge of reparations to the International African Revolution. So do we have any more pledges? Do we have another $20? You have any questions? I'm just looking over all of the meetings that are happening. And just the All Diamonds Are Blood Diamonds tour kicking off very soon. Really excited for that. Chairwoman Penny Hess of the African People's Solidarity Committee will be my special guest next week at 6 p.m. Penny Hess is the author of the All Diamonds Are Blood Diamonds pamphlet, which has just been reprinted by by Burning Spear Publications. It's important that we understand that there is no such thing as a diamond from Africa that is not a conflict or blood diamond and tainted with the blood of African people, and because of the ongoing colonial genocide that's been happening for control over the natural resources of Africa since the 19th century, since the attack on Africa began with the Portuguese in 1419. So this event will discuss the violent colonial legacy and imperialist legacy of the diamond trade, and will be an opportunity for white people to return their diamonds, their actual blood diamonds, to the African People's Socialist Party's programs for economic development and self-determination. Uhuru, do you have $10 more, Comrade Evan? Or you just have $10? Salute, comrade. Do you have another $10? Because I will match you if you have another $10. But yeah, there's no organization like this on earth for white people to be a part of, and that's because there is no other leadership on earth like the African People's Socialist Party. So, you know, the revolutionary demand for reparations being advanced into the white community is the strategy for white people to be a part of the International African Revolution. That's the only principled stance for white people to take. So returning reparations is a priority. It's a priority. It should be a priority in any person's life that wants to call themselves a communist, that wants to call themselves a revolutionary, that wants to call themselves in real solidarity with the right of African people to be free. So Evan, can you just respond real quick so I can make sure I have my count right? Because then we can make $100. That would be great. $100 in reparations. So reparations are due for diamonds. They're not only due for diamonds, blood diamonds, but for all the gold, all the silver, natural minerals like coltan and titanium. So these minerals and resources like that constitute a multi-billion-dollar extraction operation on the part of European and American and Chinese interests annually that the continent of Africa and African people see almost none of. And imperialism negotiates its prime position to loot and hoard African resources through the machinations of the UN, of the World Bank, of the IMF, and of private corporations that lean into corrupt jurisdictions to hand over a small slice of the profits to a few local people in exchange for poisoning water or poisoning the land or taking land or enslaving children or whatever the mining company wants. Uhuru, yeah, I don't know, Johan, if that's $10 or more. But that's what reparations are due for, not only the stolen lives and labor of enslaved African people that took place during chattel slavery, but the loss of lives, the destruction of the African family through Jim Crow, through mass incarceration, the lack of economic opportunity and suppression of economic opportunity, police containment, and the violent oppression of African people across the country. Reparations are due for all of that, and it's going to be advanced into the white community through under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party through Uhuru Solidarity Movement as the mass organization of the African People's Solidarity Committee. So closing out tonight's live stream, unless I have any more pledges, but I definitely want to recommend that everybody comes to your local closest date of the All Diamonds Are Blood Diamonds tour, because starting with the West African Colonial War in Sierra Leone up until today, we have had our fangs, our imperialist fangs, as the beneficiaries of parasitic capitalism, white people, the beneficiaries of parasitic capitalism, as inheriting the legacy of European violence in Africa. We've had our fangs in Africa, in the diamond trade, in the mining of natural resources, and reparations are due. So I want to close out. We have 9 viewers, and thank you for tuning in to the February 9th Solidarity Spear Study Live. I'm Valerie Bronte of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. Thank you for being a part of raising resources to the programs of the Black Power Blueprint today. Thank you, Ron Hudson. Thank you, Evan Garner. Thank you for participating in the discussion today. And I will see you next Saturday with African People's Solidarity Committee Chairwoman Penny Hess, and we will be discussing the All Diamonds Are Blood Diamonds tour. We'll be kicking off soon. Uhuru, unity through reparations. Uhuru.